When Steel talks, everybody listens.
This is When Steel Talks, and today we've traveled to Stamford, Connecticut to interview Mr. Ralph MacDonald, who is a well-known household and international name in terms of the music business. And, you know, Ralph, we've talked about this opportunity for such a very long time, but it's great to finally make it happen. And it's really apt timing, because you've got your new album, your latest, coming out in just about 3 weeks or so, Mixty Motions. And for the record, it's M-I-X-T-Y, Mixed Emotions. And, you know, we're going to explore that just a little bit as we go along. But welcome to When Steel Talks. I know we've been meaning to get together for a long time. Nothing happens before it's time, and this is the right time.
Well, I'm glad to be here. This is really great. I mean, I'm for Steelpan, and I'm for Pan on the Net Radio. I think it's a cool site. I go on it all the time, listen to my music, and see what's going on in the Pan world.
Okay, and we want to find out what's going on in your world. I mean, it's been 4 years, essentially, since your last release. That was Homegrown in 2003. Before that, it was Trippin' in 2000. And essentially, you've got, this is what, your 8th official release, your 8th album?
10th.
10th?
Yeah.
Okay.
10th.
Your 10th album you've recorded?
10th, yeah.
Right, and so, Mixed Emotions. How did it come about? When did you first start thinking about it after your 2003 release?
Well, since the album, my last album, Homegrown, usually I do an album a lot sooner, but, you know, Homegrown just took me through this 3-year period or 4-year period, and performing with Jimmy Buffett and Roberta Flack and different people that I've worked with, it just seemed not to be enough time, you know, and now I decided, well, you know, now it's time that I should put out another record. Plus, you know, these days I'm thinking more about performing under my own name. You get the itch to want to go out again and perform. And I love performing because I like...
That's where you come alive.
Yeah, I like the live setting.
Interaction and everything else.
And the intimacy and the people and the whole interaction thing. It's just great, and I miss that, you know. And I still think musically I got something to say.
I'm sure there are a lot of people, you know, who agree with that. And you spoke about the live interaction. We should probably just put here on the table for the record that you are a musician who only uses live musicians on your work. There's no synths anywhere happening.
No, well, you know, synthesizers is good for people who wants to use that kind of music. But, you know, I grew up listening to so much different kinds of music and different flavors. And when you get a synthesizer, that's nice if you want to do something. And
if the need demands it at the moment.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, like I use them for my demos. You know, when I got an idea for a song, I go on my computer quick and do a little drum part, do a little keyboard part, and you get an idea. But to put that on a record is, for me, I can't do that. You know, I have to call a real bass player, a real drummer, and so that you can have some feeling. And you know, I just think, you know, people that dealing with real musicians and real music, it's so easy to not have that now, and that's expensive. But, you know, to me, if you want the quality, you know, you want something real, because real musicians as opposed to computerized music, I mean, it's no contest.
I mean, you got a feel, you got a groove, you've got a vibing off each other, and that's...
To me, music is like your heart, you know. Your heart beats fast, sometimes it beats slow, sometimes don't stay in one thing all the time, so... Music is the same way. Once you use a machine and you set it to that time, and it ain't going nowhere. You know, you could stop playing. That machine will go for 7 days if you let it. You know, and so humans can't do that. And it's just a feeling. And you know, to me, when you use those synthesizers, playing the kind of music that I do, it sort of dates yourself. You know, once you hear it, you know, it sounds, you like it this week, and then next week, you're tired of it. You know. And I always like the real musicians and the real fields when you listen to the radio these days and you're hearing this old stuff that CTI did or Will Atlantic Records, and you say to yourself, wow, that sounds great. Well, we didn't have all that technology then. Why does it sound so good? You know, because you're hearing real music, you know. And today you just seem to be hearing a lot of rhythms, a lot of this, a lot of that. But it's you know, I just lucky and fortunate that I could use real musicians because it is expensive, you know. And but to me, music is for all time. You know, I had records like a record called The Path that I put out in 1976, and William Troll 7. That's still a good seller for me. You know, now that it's on my website and people can buy it in the CD form. Right. You know, a lot of people who had the vinyl, you know, record either broke or worn out.
They're happy to have the opportunity.
Yeah, they're happy to have the CD. So, you know, you know, but that's just music, you know. And I like that because a lot of times people don't catch up with you until a lot of years later. You know, they hear you. A lot of people don't realize. They'll say Ralph MacDonald. They'll say, oh, the musician. The guy say, yeah. Well, they don't realize the same Ralph MacDonald, that's the producer. Yeah. That's the Ralph MacDonald, that's the songwriter. You know, so they don't put you in that. They don't see you that way. They just some people see you as a musician. Some people just see you as a songwriter. Some people just see you as a producer. So, you know, when you get to do your stuff and you do your music and you put it out and people say, wow, I like that. Did he ever do anything else? And yeah, you can go back and get the early stuff.
In different capacities with whichever.
Well, that's it. And, you know, and you go back and get the old musicians who some of them are not here anymore, like the Eric Gales, the Richard Tees, you know, the Michael Breckers, you know, the Grover Washingtons, you know, we all played together. We're all on those records, and you can't take that away. You know, that's there for life, as long as those records are there. So I like real musicians because I'm a musician.
And you definitely have a few real musicians. I'll touch on the vocals for now. What gave you the idea to, you know, work yet again with Nicholas Ashford and Valerie Simpson, because they do a couple of the songs on the album, and of course, you know, great vocals, timeless. You know, you have your choice of a lot of people. What about your present project, due to be released pretty soon, made you say these will be the perfect fit this time around? Well, and of course, for Roger George, who we'll chat about in a few minutes.
You know, Ashford and Simpson is real good. We've been buddies for I would say 40 years, you know, a long time. We sort of came up together, and we used to be inspirations for each other. When we had a hit, they would say, oh, they'll get one, and then they'll get one, and we said, we got to get another one. So it was like a friendly competition thing, and we're real good buddies with Nick Ashford and Valerie Simpson, I am. And I just said, you know, all the years we've been knowing each other, and we've been in spins together, why don't we do something together, you know, before we leave this earth? You know, be nice, and so we all doing this kind of thing. And we decided, I approached them and said, I got doing this new album, and I had this song, would they be interested in writing the lyrics to it? And they said, well, let them hear it. If they like it, they'll check it out. And sure enough, they did. And they sang the lyrics to the opening track, which is called The Rhythm of the Drum. So it was really interesting. And then Valerie is singing a song by herself called When Love Will Find You. So it's just fun to know that your buddies are with you still, and your friends, and lasting relationships in terms of friends. And you can
find further expression through music.
Oh yeah. I mean, you just further it, you know. And when you put your stuff together, it just comes out to something else. You know, so it's fun. I love them, and I'm really glad that it turned out this way. And also Roger George from Trinidad. You know, he's in Miami now, but Roger was always a great singer. I liked his voice and I liked his style, especially when he sings calypso stuff. And, you know, Roger can sing American stuff also. But I just always liked his feeling. And I decided that, you know, this album, I wanted to just stretch out a little more to maybe widen my base a little bit in terms of the people that like Ralph MacDonald music. Because a lot of times they like the music, but they don't know it's Ralph MacDonald's. And because other people do them, you know. So it was nice to have Roger and Valerie. I thought it was just a perfect fit. Roger for the calypso stuff, and Nick and Val for the American dance stuff, you know, R&B type or little fusion jazz. So it's kind of fun.
I think this is a good time to note that, of course, Robert Greenwich featured on Steelpan, and it's a really mean track, Rhythm of the Drum. When you listen to, you know, his work along with Nicholas Ashford and Valerie Simpson, I mean, that's a real coming together.
That's what I like about this album. Yeah, it's like a melting pot, you know. When you put Ashford and Simpson, Roger George, Robert Greenwich, you know, Will Lee on bass, David Spinoza on guitar, Rob Mousy, Leon Pendarvis. These guys are the cream of the crop. You know, Will Lee is the bass player. He play on. You can see him every night on the David Letterman show. Leon Pendarvis, you see him every Saturday night. on Saturday Night Live.